The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
This is All Things Elite. Welcome back to All Things Elite. Load up the pod, man, it's on when we speak. Rich right here, let me warm it up for Austin and Floyd. Couldn't be no one but the boys. When it come to All Things Elite from the fan perspective, swear, man, it ain't no question. Hear from them first. Swear, man, they putting in the work. No, they had to get me for the verse. Social Suplex Network's on. Hours at a time in your headphones. Austin and Floyd on the microphone. Backing out on the ring, getting in the zone. Pulling up the show, give it 7 stars, you already know. Who else could it be but the show with the proclivity for positivity? I'm gone.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 222nd episode of Social Suplex's podcast about AEW with a proclivity for positivity. Welcome to All Things Elite. My name is Austin Sumwitz, and I am the host of this lovely show. Joining with me, as always, is my good buddy and friend, Mr. Floyd Johnson Jr. I know it's been a minute, but Floyd, how are you doing?
Dude, I am doing well. Big problem is, I'll be working. And like the why we didn't do the show last week, I was working. And I was so impossibly busy at work that I couldn't record. Because it's the benefit, of working at the shift I do, that it generally gets slower and I can work, record all at the same time. It doesn't, take away. But last week I was working. I was like, I can't record. Like, I literally have to just focus on what I'm 100% focused on what I was doing. So couldn't record. So I am sorry about that. It was just, last week was on me. That was on me. And, so it was just never a good time. And then we both had, big NFL games we were looking forward to at that time. So it was just like, there was a lot of stress. Me, not so much, because, my team is there literally every year. But, for somebody that hadn't been there in a while, I could see that stress, building up a little bit, And
hear the smugness out of this piece of shit right now. You can hear the smugness. This man already knows, oh, I'm the heel. I'm going to play the heel. Like, I'm going to play the heel. I'm going to give you some heat right now.
So sometimes you play the heel, right? Which, again, everyone knows in real life I am a face. But sometimes the heel role is thrust upon you. And unfortunately, my team wins too much. Because people love it when you're young and you start to win. And then you finally win. And they're like, oh, my God, this is beautiful. Then you win another one. They're like, oh, my God, you lose one. Oh, that's humbling, And they're like, okay, we can root for you again because you got humbled. And then you win another one. It's like, ah. And then you win again. It's like, ah. All right, motherfucker. Can somebody else win now? Can somebody else have a turn?
Well, listen, as somebody who knows many fans of other teams that are like, it's so hard to get there. It's so hard. When you see a dynasty forming in front of your very eyes, you have either two responses. You can either be like, damn, this team's really good. I can't help but respect it. Or you can be like, I hate this. Let somebody else have a chance, because it's so hard. My Lions have never made one. Other teams have made multiple Super Bowls, lost every single one of them, and then never got back. Just looking at you, Buffalo. And yet here's Kansas City. Their fourth Super Bowl, I believe, or third Super Bowl in their last 5 years. One of the numbers. Fourth Super Bowl. Chance to win their third in the last 5 years.
Bam. Dynasty.
And that is a dynasty if they get it done. I will give massive props to Floyd, And
you know what? It's funny because I remember, when the Patriots, I'm like, okay. I remember I was told people hate when we start off with football. So we will continue this talk. We will continue this talk when we talk about your trip. We can get as much in the foot. Because what I did with JR, and I think will be the standard, is we did the show. And then it was like, okay, all the AEW talk is over. We're going to talk about the trip now. So if you want to get off, you want to Hang up.
If you want to stick around for the football talk, it'll be at the end of the show.
Yes,
just do it a little bit since we've been away.
Yes.
I mean, I've been gone for 2 weeks on this show, so
yes,
we will stick to strictly AEW throughout 95% of the show,
and then we'll do the rest of the stuff. So I will say this though, I'm a Roman fan now to keep this wrestling.
Yep.
Hey, and it was like at the beginning of Roman's run, and the second year it was like, oh man, this has never been done. But now at this point, it's like, when is he gonna lose?
Yep.
And that's how people are with
you either
the
die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain.
Dude, I tell you, on both of my hands, for the first 26 years that I was a Chiefs fan, I could count the number of people that claim the Chiefs on both of my hands.
Yeah.
I cannot anymore because everybody's a diehard Chiefs fan, and they've been that way their whole life.
Out of nowhere, man.
They've been that way their whole life, and I'm like, dude, we've literally talked, and you have never once brought up liking the Kansas City Chiefs, which I understand if you want to. If you're in any fandom, you're Roman, you're Cody, you're any fandom, wrestling fandom, I understand if you want to be a bandwagon guy. I welcome you aboard the bandwagon, right? That's fine, because the bandwagon only fills up when you're good, right? It's a positive, right? So I want you on the bandwagon. Whatever fandom I'm on, I want people on the bandwagon. But know who you are. Know you are a bandwagoner, and it's fine.
Just accept it.
Just accept it. And just don't claim that you've been watching the team for 20 something years, and you can't tell me about Trent Green. Don't claim.
Exactly.
Don't be false claiming, man. If you're a bandwagon, let's bandwagon together. Jump on the bandwagon.
Same thing with AEW. Plenty of people were like, when AEW first started, they were like, oh man, this company's trash. And then when they started really getting good, and being like, oh man, AEW has been always the best. And then, we just admit it. If you're a bandwagon, just admit it. It's okay to be a bandwagon as long as you accept it and admit it.
Yes. And that's this is about general fandom. This is not about any sport.
No.
General fandom. Just admit it. Just be who you are.
Be who you are.
Yes.
That's all we're saying. Yes. So anyways, we got a ton to talk about. Of course, I've been away for a minute, so I have had a lot to want to talk about with AEW. We're going to get into Collision and Dynamite, and of course, some other big news that's coming up in AEW. So we're going to get into all of that and all things Elite today. But first, we want to make sure you guys are downloading this fine show on Google or Apple Podcasts. If you're listening to us on Spotify or wherever you choose to listen to us, please give us a share with your friends, family, coworkers, whoever you wish. Subscribe and rate and review, and leave a review if you enjoy the show. And then also follow us on social media at AT Elite Pod on Twitter. You can also follow at Social Suplex, who make this show possible and have a bunch of other great shows on their network you should check out. I am at Austin Sumowicz, SZUMOWICZ, and Floyd is at Floyd Johnson Jr. on Twitter. And the big news of the week was that it was announced on Dynamite, I believe it was announced, that next week we will have another major announcement from Mr. Tony Khan, Mr. TK, coming next week on Dynamite. So on next week's Dynamite.
Let's do our favorite thing. Let's wildly speculate.
Yes.
With the no rumors. I'm like, okay. So I want to set this disclaimer all the time. You're all going to blow up this thing in your head. And it's going to not be as big as you think it is. And, again, not TK's fault. Now, the definition of major versus not major, that's weird to me. Okay, so so it is up to your interpretation whether something is amazing. So my wild speculation. Well, when I woke up this morning, I first Twitter post I saw is that it was going to be announced that they were going to do a special show and it's going to be for Sasha Banks, and then I realized that was just somebody making like a graphic. I didn't know that. I was just like, what's going on? And somebody's making a graphic. And then after careful studying, which includes like 5 seconds on Google, I looked at the AEW calendar coming up, right? Right. So this is what I see. I see March 30th, live from London, Ontario, is Collision, right? Then I see the next on sale date is April 10th from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, which is going to be a Dynamite, right? So what that leaves right there, and honestly, somebody may know more or have inside information. So if you do, you do. I just say, but what that leaves at first glance is that WrestleMania weekend of what is it? A WrestleMania weekend is from the 4th to the 9th. That means that week shows like the AEW Dynamite that was from April 3rd and what would be the Collision from April 6th don't have a location right now.
No.
I'm calling that they're going to be in Philly.
Yeah, I would think that would be the case.
That is my educated guess that they're going to announce a big show in either Philadelphia or it could be like Newark, New Jersey, that New Jersey area. They're going to announce two big shows, a Dynamite and a Collision close to Philadelphia.
I would think that would be the case too. And then maybe
Sasha's debut that weekend.
It could vary. That was what I was my mention would be maybe this at the same time that they do that, they also bring out Mercedes Moné. This could be Okada too, possibly.
Yeah, and that's why I called it why I'm calling it wild speculation, but really
those would be my wild speculations.
Really, I'm looking at it because when you look at how the calendar looks for AEW, when you look at all the dates, right? You see Edge, you see Chris Jericho, but on March 27th, it's March 20th. All of a sudden, in the background is Will Ospreay, and he's not on any of the posters until March 20th. Just saying, it just seems like something big could happen that weekend. I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot.
Even if that's not the announcement, I think that's still a relatively pretty honest thing to think of.
Yeah, it's just like I saw it, and because I'm going to be in Philly that week, and I was trying to look at where Dynamite was going to be, because Collision's on night 1 of WrestleMania. Unfortunately, my guy might be main eventing night 1 of WrestleMania, because of a movie star. So I couldn't do Collision. Honestly, let's be real. I'm never going to skip WrestleMania it's WrestleMania. It's just,
right.
It's ingrained in who I am. So I'm never going to skip WrestleMania. So even if I was home, I would just watch WrestleMania and then watch Collision afterwards. So I saw it and I was like, they haven't announced it. And it's so weird. What's weird is the show for April 10th. The show for April 10th is right there, right? Yeah. And it's just and then the show for March 30th is there. It's literally a 10-day period of nothing. They always do Supercard of Honor in Philly already, right? Just seems like it makes sense. Educated guess.
I would be thinking that's a very big possibility. And then I would say my other big wild speculations for the big announcement would be Mercedes Moné or Kazuchika Okada. Those would be my two. But we will see what TK actually does announce.
All I need him to do is to actually make an announcement.
Yes, it needs to at least be something that people can really chew.
When you give a week, it cannot be an announcement that it's going to be announced.
No.
It needs to be full on, this is what's going down. This is why you tuned into our show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. But we'll move over now into AEW Collision from this past week, which emanated from the Brookshire Grocery Arena in Bossier City, LA.
Bossier City.
Sorry
City, Louisiana.
Yep. So there's that. And honestly, this show was 1,000%. I mean, you tuned into this show for two things. One, actually three things, I will say. One, because my girl Serena Deeb is freaking back. And I am so happy she's back. And, can I just say, too, I heavily enjoyed her promo as well that she cut afterwards. Her just being basically like, did you miss me? I love that attitude that she had. And then basically being like, I'm here to elevate the women's division and put the wrestling back in All Elite Wrestling and to become champion, because this is not just what I do, it's who I am. I loved her energy with this. I thought she was super cool, getting her first victory back as she beat Robin Renegade. The welcome back chance too made me very happy. I will say I wanted to touch on that just because holy shit, I've missed Serena Deeb. I've missed Serena Deeb so much.
Yeah, before we even knew what was up with her, you were like, "Where's Serena Deeb?"
I was like, "Where's she been?
Why aren't they using Serena Deeb?" You know, like, and you know, again, I will always shout out AEW for being able to keep that kind of stuff on lockdown. But her coming back, I've always enjoyed how she works. Her and Thunder, when they work together, always had great chemistry. So I'm looking forward to it. And it's like, and you see with a lot of these comebacks and stuff, the women's division is getting better and better and more loaded. So hopefully they can get featured a little bit more.
Yeah, hopefully. And then the other big things, of course, from this show was first thing, which I'll mention, which was the American Dragon Bryan Danielson versus Yuji Nagata. Holy shit, this was a good match. I mean, these guys beat the hell out of each other. Some damn good submission moves they put on each other. It was just like, dude, these guys like did such great work in this match. I mean, they're so violent when they're just like punishing each other. Like Danielson's arm was getting ripped apart in the match. But I thought genuinely this was going to be a submission ending match, but eventually, like after neither of them could get each other to tap out, you saw the Busaiku knee, which was the one that, which was the thing that made Nagata go down eventually. And then also having Eddie Kingston on commentary too for that. I like that a lot as well. Having that as a thing. I enjoyed that heavily.
Yeah, Eddie Kingston is amazing on commentary. I mean, play-by-play guy, heel manager, whatever he wants to do when
he can do whatever
when his in-ring career is over. But I would not have a problem with him being a play-by-play commentator. And that guy hates really, really well. He does not like Bryan Danielson. And what's good about it in him on the mic is it comes through in everything he says. It's not like Nigel. Nigel's funny. Like Nigel hates Bryan Danielson, but it's funny, right? And it's like, no, when Kingston like hates you, it is like, I want to gouge your eyes out and show them to you. I want to take out your right eye and show it to your left eye as you're bleeding out. I mean, his whole hate situation is a whole like on another level. It's like, dude, he's like, dude,
it's such a level of unhealthy.
Yes, it's very much an unhealthy level of hate where I would injure myself. I would stab myself in the shoulder just to stab you in the shoulder because I hate you that much. And I love it.
Exactly. No, it's spectacular. And they had an incredible match. And then, of course, the main event, which was also when they beforehand announced like CMLL, their partnership, and like we've known about that getting announced, and then they mentioned Mystico, Mascarada Dorada, and Volador Jr. and oh god, I'm not gonna be able to say that.
You talking about Hechiero?
Hechiero, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, no,
that was the one I've never been able to pronounce.
I literally had to listen to another show pronounce it.
Good.
And that's how I was able to pronounce it.
I knew I was going to botch it.
Now, no, and I don't even know if it's right. I just know that's how I heard
well, we're going to go off of it right there. But basically, those all are going to be on Rampage this Friday. So we're going to get a bunch of CMLL action on Rampage, which will be exciting to see. But then, I mean, like Floyd, the Escape the Cage match, the 6-man between Mark Briscoe and FTR versus House of Black.
Yes.
But then eventually Mark Briscoe was replacing Daniel Garcia, but Daniel Garcia still came out and fucking did some shit
with the bandage around the head. Dude. Let me tell you, this match was formatted, in my opinion, like, I don't go back. Yeah, I'm very honest about not going back and watching a lot of old wrestling. I'm not sitting here watching 80s Mid-South wrestling or World Class Championship wrestling. There's too much new wrestling. I don't have time for the old wrestling, right?
Uh-huh.
So if a match was put together like this, or if this was an amalgamation of, a bunch of other old school matches, fine. You got me. You're smarter than me. But goddamn, I'd never seen a match put together like this.
Dude, I know. It was just so well done.
And escape the cage, how they did it, and it was just like, once you escape the cage, you can't bail back in, and rules and all this stuff. And it was funny because I'm in a Twitter, because this goes into Twitter and everything. I want to give the match its full time, but I had seen, like, a friend of mine was like, on our social media group was like, oh, they're doing escape. Did he change it to escape the cage so somebody doesn't want a job? And I'm just like, both of these teams have beaten each other already.
Yeah, already.
So I'm like, that literally doesn't even make sense. Like it doesn't make sense. And it was like, well, there's going to be, because of it, there's going to be 5 eliminations. Somebody's going to have to lose. And then there was speculation that, Malachi Black and Buddy Matthews didn't want to lose. Started from some statements made by Dave Meltzer, right?
Of course.
And I was like, it doesn't make sense. Buddy Matthews loses all the time. He is effectively the pin eater for House of Black. So I'm like, I don't like... I was trying to, I'm not saying I am the most involved person when it comes to backstage politics, but based on what's happened in this rivalry over the last 6 months, including House of Black losing their 6-man tag belts to the Acclaimed, when is this time that they don't want to lose? When does this come through? Now, you might say Malachi Black, but Malachi Black is the leader of the group.
Right.
He should be protected. Right? Because he's the leader of the group.
I don't know where, like I said, that comment.
Like I said, from a person watching it every week, every episode, all, the 3 shows a week, maybe
I don't know where that's coming from.
Yeah. These people lose all the time. I'm thinking, because first of all, I was like, FTR don't want to lose. I'm like, they got fucking squashed in 4 minutes in the tag match to lose their belt. Honestly. What do you mean they don't want to lose?
Honestly.
I was like, these dudes lose. And they lost in this group. They've been destroyed. They've been left lying a few times. He burned his wife's picture. I was like,
yes,
this is old school hate. And it was just like, so then you find out from the horse's mouth, Buddy Matthews, that this was always supposed to be an escape the cage match. They got the graphic wrong. Which, of course, to people reacting to the graphic changing and all that stuff and thinking it was a change, you have no choice but to think that when people are getting fundamental things like the graphics wrong. Yes. You have to get the graphics right. You have to be clear, especially cage match, or when you want to do something that your company has never done, you need to be clear. Otherwise, it's going to cause this.
Yes, exactly.
Because from the moment they announced the cage match, they announced it escape the cage, no one's asking questions.
Yeah.
And
then everyone knows immediately what it is, yeah.
I just think they did it for a longer match. You got this, you're going up against the Royal Rumble. We don't really discuss the WWE on the show, but you're going up against the Royal Rumble. You know your number's going to suck. Yeah. So you want to reward the people that are choosing to hang with you instead of watching the Royal Rumble, or at least have you all while you're watching the Royal Rumble. You want to give them something to pay attention to. Yeah. So you do the match in a way that's never been done before to draw eyes. Again, that's just my simplistic, fan take on it, is that you want to put on.
Yeah, and that gave it more excitement, I felt like.
Yeah, it gave it more
the match finished. Yeah.
It just like, we tried to do something different because we're going against the fucking Rumble, and it's just like, and the way they did it. And this is getting back to the match. Daniel Garcia looked like a fucking star in this match.
Again, I was like, this dude is like, I mean, like this reminded me so much of when he had his matches with the BCC and people just all of a sudden just like took to this guy immediately.
He comes
and like,
out,
this is his pro wrestling shit.
Yes. And he comes out with the wrap bandage around the head, all bleeding, and he's fighting, and he's left in the ring 2-on-1, and it's just like
he looks like he's gonna die to the Black Mass, and he ducks it and then hits a pile driver on Malachi Black onto the chair.
Dude, I honestly, when you talk about in-ring style, right, the only thing I can say, Daniel Garcia fits better with the Blackpool Combat Club, but not too much better than he does with FTR. I mean, his wrestling style, his fighting style, what he does, other than the dancing, it's pretty much FTR.
It worked very well with them, yes.
Yes, they're wrestlers. They care about wrestling. They want to win wrestling, and it's just like they fit well together. I would have never thought. If you're like, oh man, who's a good third for FTR? Of course, I'm going Mark Briscoe. I'm going Wardlow. I'm going the people that they've tagged up. I would have never thought Daniel Garcia. This worked way better than I thought. And I just like from the moment he came from getting attacked in the back, wrapped in the head, to being the last person and the person that has to get the last fall, to Mark Briscoe slamming the door on Malachi to end the match. Perfectly done. Beautifully done. I love this match. Cash fucking Wheeler. Wheeler.
He went wild.
Hey, we need somebody to jump off the cage. Before you got the sentence out, Cash's hand was up. Like me. Or Cash probably went into the room. Hey, when can I jump off the cage?
Something.
And he's like, not only am I going to jump off the top of this extremely high cage, which I think their cages are quite a bit larger than WWE.
It feels like
yeah, maybe I'm wrong, or maybe it's the venues, whatever, but they seem like they're larger. He's like, not only that, I'm also going to fall off said cage and go through a table.
Yeah, dude, that spot, especially too, that table spot was just, ugh.
Oh my God. And Dax is doing what he's doing. And the Hammer is like, oh, who's going to line up with Brody King? Oh, yeah, Dax. They're a hard hitter. The big man of this group. The enforcer. Dax. No, Dax. Man, this match was so physical and so brutal and so hate. And it was so hate-filled. It was like, oh my God, suspension of disbelief. You always talk about that.
Yeah.
It's just like, I know it's happening in the cage and I'm watching a wrestling show, but halfway through that match, this was as real as anything. I needed FTR and Daniel Garcia to get the revenge, and then Daniel Garcia did it, and it was like this exclamation howl that I was so happy.
It's one of my favorite Collision matches in quite some time.
Yeah, dude, and it's like, and this is, I mean, you want to talk about fundamental what wrestling is or what Collision is. This is what, when, the people went to Collision, this is what they wanted Collision to be. Like old school pro wrestling, storylines, rivalries built up over months, 2 big matches that happened on it. And anybody that said this match was thrown together just doesn't watch Collision.
No.
Like since the very beginning.
It's literally been, we've had multiple interactions with House of Black and FTR.
Yes. And it's just like, you literally just don't want to like it, and that's fine. It's like somebody pointed out that if you talk to an AEW person that doesn't really like AEW, they'd be like, oh man, there's just a lot of guys that do flips. Tell them to watch Collision.
Yep.
Because man, that's not what really this show's about, which I have no problem with flips. I think I'm all about the variety show aspect of wrestling. I want a little bit of everything, but I have no problem with flips. But if you don't like them, the main stars that they really push on Collision, none of them are flippy people. You know what I mean? So that might be the show for you, but this match was perfect. If I'm doing stars, I didn't go 5 stars. I probably would have went 4.5, 4 3/4.
Right.
It just didn't feel like a 5. That's all it comes down to me. I honestly couldn't tell you the difference between a 4 1/4 and a 4 3/4 match. All I can tell you is when something doesn't feel like it was perfect. And this felt really, really great. It just didn't feel perfect.
Yeah, no, it was such a good match. And I do think, like you said, it rewarded people that were like, you know what? Rumble's been cool, or Rumble's not been what I wanted. Let me see what's on Collision. If you went to Collision and you watched, I think you got tremendously rewarded because the show was pretty dang strong, especially towards the end of it. I think you got some outstanding stuff that you could just really, really enjoy.
Absolutely. This show was loaded. They're trying to load up against other shows. Me personally, like that Mania weekend, I would punt.
Right, you would be like, we're not gonna be able to fit any, like, do anything here or get any sort of like bump.
Yeah,
so we're just gonna be like, you know what?
We build to
next week.
Build it up for that Collision on the 10th is what I think I pulled up. I'll build up for that next week and be like, oh, we got a 2-week build the next week. I would punt against Mania because it's Mania. It's Mania, and it's like, because it's on Peacock, it doesn't even really cost anything. You know what I mean? It's
right.
like most
Which is weird because I kind of felt like almost like it didn't happen with Collision, but like, I don't know, maybe you could say whether or not you felt like this with me, but like it kind of felt like that for this week on Dynamite, that it wasn't exactly like a punt, but like, you know, this is almost what I kind of thought Collision was going to be like. It felt like, you know, the big wrestling, like, holy shit moments were on Collision this week. And Dynamite was more so like, you would have thought that they would have taken a look at this week and be like, we'll punt this away and like just build to next week. Yeah. Because that's what this felt more punty. More like, you know, punty, I guess is the word that we're going to use.
Yes. I mean, and it's funny because it's really like next week's show in Phoenix, we'll talk about it then, is building up to be a huge fucking show. Oh, like the 3 matches announced right now are huge, and I said, we'll talk about them as we go through Dynamite and do the preview later. But it's a big show. Like, it's crazy to me that it doesn't have a name.
I know. You would think that this would be like Winter is Coming kind of.
Yeah, like, it's so loaded. You think it has a name, but it doesn't. It's just going to be a big one, and hopefully, like, again, it's one of those shows. I feel like if your friends are into wrestling and they decide whether to watch based on the card, make sure they know about the Dynamite card next week because it's loaded.
Yeah, no, 1,000%, 1,000%.
But let's talk about Dynamite.
We'll move over
week.
about Dynamite. Yeah, that Dynamite. We'll open that up. It took place in New Orleans, and it opened up with Jeff Hardy versus Jon Moxley, with all the members of the CMLL group that were coming over. They were ringside. And this was a solid, really good match, I think, to open things off. We saw how Hardy was getting a little bit more as time's been going on. He's been getting a bit more physical. I think the real main bit of physicality was when Jeff Hardy took a steel chair and threw it at Moxley. But other than that, Moxley was way more physical in this match and did some, like, just like hurling him into the barricade right in front of the Luchas. And then they actually shoved him, and Mox just proceeded to flip him off. And then he like took some shots as well. And like Moxley like basically knew like, oh, Hardy's going to jump at me. I'm going to just pretty much knock him in the face with it. He also took Excalibur's, like, this was ridiculous. He took Excalibur, they go to ringside, they take his pen on the table, and they put it through Jeff's earlobe, and then he just starts twisting it. And I'm just like, can we leave Jeff's ears alone?
Yeah.
Like, the amount of, like, I think this is like the second or third time I've seen like, because I remember it was with Orton, wasn't it?
Yeah, the gauges, yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, can we not do this, please? Like, those spots give me the heebie-jeebies. Like, it's just, ugh.
I feel you.
No, they really got physical, especially Moxley. Eventually, though, Jeff tries to go for the Swanton, but he misses as Mox gets out of the way. He chokes him out, and then he wins by getting the sleeper on him. He actually offered to shake his hand afterwards, but Jeff was going to flip off Moxley, which is weird because I think Moxley would like understand that reasoning. And Taz even said, I did not expect that out of Jeff Hardy, because I'm like, really? I expect Moxley to do something like that. So,
yeah, this is what I'm talking about with, you know, we've been talking about AEW getting back to like what they began with, right? And a big thing when they started is wins and losses matter, right?
Well,
and then Jeff Hardy is losing every week, and he's getting more and much frustrated. Why? Because wins and losses matter. You know what I mean?
Yes, with the rankings officially being fully back.
Yes.
We'll talk about where they stand after the Dynamite review.
Yeah,
Rankings
like
are
sometimes
fully back now. Yeah, that's what's playing into it now. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes to go forward, you gotta go backwards a little bit. And this whole Jeff Hardy thing is like, you have somebody like Jeff Hardy who, him and Matt aren't probably cheap. They're not working for pennies, right?
No.
And it was like you weren't using them, and it's just like, dude, you could, there are storylines you can tell through losing. I mean, which I have always thought AEW has been doing perfect at, throwing storylines through losing. And Jeff Hardy's been really wrestling every week, losing every week. So this is going somewhere. I don't know if it's a heel turn or just a more aggressive
It seems
Hardy's,
like we're leaning towards
a heel turn. Yeah. But that is what you want. Even Matt Hardy's like, we're the Hardys, and it's funny because that's what you want, because I've always said the main event scene is always perfect in AEW. For the most part, I love it. Some of the MJF stuff during his time as champion, I might not have loved, but this stuff, Samoa Joe, Swerve, Hangman, that's the main event. But what, sometimes gets lost is making the rest of the show interesting, right? This Jeff Hardy thing, of course, it looked like it was more because the CMLL guys were outside the ring, and they got into it with...
after the match, they got into it.
Yeah, so that looked like that was the main story it was telling, right? That was the main story. This was setting up Blackpool Combat Club versus the CMLL guys. But on that other hand, now you have this other story that's happening simultaneously, same match of Jeff Hardy's growing frustration and losing. And not just Jeff Hardy, the Hardy Boys growing frustration and losing.
Yep.
And you're also telling this at another time with another group, with the Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett family group. It's all about just tired of losing. And it's just like, dude, everyone understands that on a basic level of storytelling. Everyone understands in life, whether you're the richest person or whatever, you understand getting into those periods of losing, and you understand getting frustrated, and you understand you changing things and still not working. And man, I like, it's funny because no one probably said, oh, I'm going to tune into the show and hear about how Jeff Hardy losing is a great thing, but it really has been well done.
Yeah, no, it's been solid to see. And like I said, it's exciting to see, different usage of the Hardys recently. And, with how long we have Matt and Jeff for, or how much time they have left in their careers, I would like to see different stuff, because Hardys were kind of in a situation where, kind of similar to where the Bucks were, where it's like they were just playing the hits. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I had even said it. I had said it before, and, I stand on what I say. I was like, man, I've seen the Hardys enough. I felt like I had seen pretty much every presentation of the Hardys that you possibly could see.
And now we have something starting to see something different. Yeah.
It's something different, and I'm interested in them again. Because like I said, I thought I was done. I mean, I was just like, dude, I feel like they're just running out the clock right now until their contract's up, and now it's actually interesting.
Yeah. No, I'm very excited to see where this ends up going. We'll move on over to the Dealer's Choice match, the first of two, between Hangman Adam Page and his opponent that was chosen for him by Swerve Strickland, Toa Liona.
Which I did not know. Had no clue. No earthly idea. You could have bet me a ton of money. I did not know that Toa had never been pinned or submitted in AEW.
Well, I didn't know that, and that was a good reason as to explain the decision as to why Hangman had him. Because I will say, when they announced that as his choice, I was like,
yeah, that's trash.
I'm sorry, are you kidding me? This is what you're going to try to do to beat up Hangman? Yeah. I was like, y'all, you act like Nick Gage is not even willing to come in and kill somebody with a pizza cutter.
Yeah.
Dog will do it literally if you just ask.
Dude.
And you telling me Swerve's not a guy that would try to get Nick Gage and be like, yo, kill this guy for me.
Dude, you have people on the roster. It could have just been Lance Archer.
Sure.
And you have people on your roster that you don't use, which I think not using Lance Archer to just go out there and beat people up is dumb. So I'm like, seems like this is Lance Archer's role. Hey, I need somebody that's ruthless, that's willing to go out there and hurt somebody. But I do like that they are trying to feature other members of the Mogul Embassy. So I do like that he got that spot. But exactly. That initial
and again, them
was
really trying to sell him saying you have not been pinned or submitted is a genuinely good way of making people be like, okay, now there's an understanding to it, and there's a reason why you would be like, oh wow. Also, I will say another thing that kind of hurt this match. Where the fuck was Nana? It's a Mogul Embassy match, and there's no Nana?
He was on the boat. Boat, and he got in, and they said the injury, he might not have been ever, supposed to work that night, but eventually.
I know he was on the boat, but I was just like, man.
Give him the night off, but yes, he is missed. When Swerve's
he's not there, he's missed.
So Swerve music goes super. I love Swerve's music, goes hard, love it. But man, the Nana dance, it's it'd be like the Nana dance. It's you gotta get him in to do the dance.
Something, yeah. It's it's tough. It's tough. Like I said, his presence was sorely missed.
Yeah.
I still thought this was a pretty dang good match, but.
I love when he no-sold the dead eye. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. And he just jumped up. Because back in my day, Samoans did not sell pile drivers or Tongans. They didn't sell pile drivers. Their heads got back up and headbutted the fucking head. Yeah, their heads were too hard. That's how that was old school wrestling, is that Samoans didn't sell headbutts. And if you were a Samoan that did, that was headbutts, pile drivers, any of that. I grew up with Hawk from the Road Warriors. Animal and Hawk's necks were too thick to sell a pile driver. And it was just so that little callback to my childhood with him just completely no-selling it was amazing.
Nice, yeah. And I mean, that to me, I saw that and I was like, oh shit. Like I said, those small moments where you, the reasonable doubt of holy shit. That's something I was not expecting whatsoever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was still a pretty damn solid match. But eventually, as he tried to go for the buckshot lariat, he got lifted up and he was going to get hit with a Samoan drop, and he pulls him back and then cradles him up, and he gets the pin. And he manages to get the victory, but he charges out after him after the match. Hangman then sends him out by ducking and sending him over the top rope. So Hangman wins his dealer's choice match, and, big win for him. And they actually said right afterwards, too, Excalibur was like, the rankings are going to be revealed immediately after Dynamite, which I said we'll talk about once we finish our Dynamite review. But this helped him tremendously in terms of, both these guys want a shot at Samoa Joe. And the idea was going into it basically if Swerve loses this match, Hangman's getting the title match.
Yeah. So of course, Hangman's trying to take every advantage that he can, and and he was not so sly with who the person that he picked was going to be. As he said, you couldn't beat this man in 4 minutes and 20 seconds, and to find out who it is, you had to wait the whole effing show. That was pretty cool. I just I like that, because it like I said, when you do the mystery thing, you give people moments to speculate, right? But this one, they pretty much told you who it was.
They told you with the whole effing show thing. You knew him.
Yeah, 420, and it's then they said Excalibur said there was a strange smell coming from the locker room. I was like, it was I can't believe they told us, and it was just already, dude. They told you the whole show. They told you the whole show who was gonna be here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
no, exactly. So It is like that to me was super exciting. I love the fact that RVD was who he like that. Like I said, that was more so of what I was kind of expecting for Dealer's Choice announcement. We then had footage of the Bucks arriving. They came out of limo and they were handed the show format from a PA who called them Nick and Matt, and they were like, you call us Nicholas and Matthew, and they told him basically you're going to get fined for that, and then they walked off. And then I can't even remember what Brandon Cutler's tweet was basically about the backstage shit. Again, like I said, you're going to get the same answer out of this from me. It's this is designed to piss me off.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, they are full on heels.
No, I'm talking like me specifically. It's not just them being heels. It's like this is supposed to piss me off.
Yeah, I mean, hey, they are not like if you know the Young Bucks as far as over the years, this is what they do. If they're the people you don't let know something pisses you off because they're gonna just
will needle it
until you just want to actually fight them.
Yep, that's just how it goes. And I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. Like I said, I asked for like actual direction for the Bucks, and this is direction. And I don't deny the fact that like this is good for their characters. I hate it so much. And I will forever hate it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
it is what it is. I can't really add any genuine like critique on it. That's Floyd's job. For me, it's just gonna be like I fucking can't stand him. I can't stand him.
Like I said, I understand. I mean, they're literally going at a guy me and you both love. So
it's not even necessarily that, but it's like again designed to piss off the people that like also support him too.
Yeah, so. No. They are. This is not an accident. This is not.
It's very much designed.
It is designed to piss.
I expect, dude, so hard. I was expecting, though, that I thought they were going to make a tricep joke. Like, I was waiting for it. And, there's still time. There's still plenty of time for them to do it. I'm waiting for, like, if a tricep gets mentioned, just know, like, I'm calling it before it happens. Because I know they're too lazy, and they're so lazy that they would do it. But that's all I'm saying.
Moving on, sir. Yes.
Wardlow taking on Commander. This was interesting, I will say. Match was it wasn't a squash, but there was a bit more of a back and forth with this between him and Commander. Getting some nice high octane moves for Commander, and he hit a Phoenix Splash, which I love to see. He killed that, but eventually, though, after that, he was starting to get a little bit of momentum, and he thought he maybe had a chance. He gets powerbombed, and I also love too, like basically when Commander got thrown and he's like spitting almost, but Wardlow gets the win over Commander. And then basically Roderick Strong goes and starts screaming at Commander. Basically, you should have taken the deal I offered you on Collision, but now you're going to pay for that. Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends, they come out and they chase him out. And it seems like there's been talk going around from this moment after the match that Wardlow got hurt. Because, I mean, this man was furious. And, like, it's like it feels like something like happened. Like it seemed like he may have hurt his knee after the powerbomb. So we don't know necessarily any word on that. I hope he's okay, and I hope it's like no genuine like concern. I just feels like I'm hoping that's not the case because right now wrestlers are just getting hurt left and right, and I want everyone to stay healthy because I mean this is a big time in wrestling, and for you to get hurt around this time of the year is just like brutal, like no matter who you are.
Wardlow, a normal man's knee would be rooming, and I'm no normal man. I'm still coming for the heavyweight title, and there's nothing and no one
that's what he said.
Stop me. Knee is just fine. Yes.
Okay, good. I did not see the tweet, so I'm very happy to see that the knee is just fine.
Yeah,
because I was concerned because he seemed like he was frustrated.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably one of those things. It could have been a problem, and then it ended up not being a problem.
Yeah,
I mean, like he goes back there and it was like, okay, you just twisted it or whatever you did to it. So hopefully, yeah, everything's okay.
Yeah, I hope so. It seems like that because again,
because we're literally like
he's very not human. For sure.
The Undisputed Kingdom. The thing about their feud is they've put us in a lot of different waiting patterns, right? We got 5 weeks now before Roddy faces Orange Cassidy. We got the Kingdom. They're the ROH Tag Team Champions. They're really not defended on TV. The big thing we're waiting on is MJF versus the Kingdom. Yeah. MJF's hurt and Adam Cole's hurt.
I know.
So we're literally like the Undisputed Kingdom, while debuted, we're kind of on a holding pattern with them. Until, MJF gets all ready and, and Adam Cole gets healed. So you're going to have to do what you can to keep them relevant, keep them interested along. They do need a tag team feud for the Kingdom. They really do. They need to introduce that. Collision, Dynamite, ROH, they need a feud to keep them busy too. Because you just don't want them to look like just hanger-ons. Because they're champions, right? You're supposed to make your championships matter. So this Wardlow thing is kind of the thing, him beating people and going up the list. So if they lose that, dude.
Oh, I know.
If they lose that, this is like almost retribution. And by retribution, I mean just kind of snake bitten, on it working.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no, retribution wasn't injuries. It was, storyline or the story. But you can have all these stories, but if you don't have the people to perform them, they don't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, exactly. So it's hopefully everyone's okay. Like I said, Wardlow, I trust him being like, knees fine because again, the dude is a freaking giant man and he's not normal. So good to hear from that. We then had a backstage segment with the sit down interview between Sting and Darby Allin and the AEW World Tag Team Champions, Ricky Starks and Big Bill, about their title match that they will be having next week on Dynamite. And Ricky starts things off basically being like, I thought it'd be appropriate for both of us to talk since, this is about respect. And I wanted to personally say, Sting, don't forget that this journey in AEW started with me. And Sting was like, what did I do? You didn't tell me what I did. And he goes, well, listen, your first win was over me and that does not sit right with me. And Darby Allin proceeds to respond like basically being like, you want to talk about respect? You respect the icon? Is that what you're saying? And Ricky's like, yeah, absolutely. And Darby's like, that's a load of crap. You're just seeing this as a stepping stone. And you don't respect Sting. I don't think you respect anyone. And he's defending Sting, to which Ricky proceeds to be like, you're the one that had to attach himself to someone like Sting. It's like, I'm trying to make the point that next week, two things will happen. I will retain the tag titles, and me and Big Bill will be the world champions still. And I'm gonna get my lick back on you because listen, this chip on my shoulder ends next week. I will make sure you don't even make it to your retirement match. And Darby, there's no respect for you because I got no space in my body for respect for you. Big Bill then also said basically, you guys run your mouths. You brag about how you're going to go into Revolution. You didn't even mention us. You overlooked us looking towards your match that you're going to have and who you were going to have your final match with. It's like we're taking your frustration, our frustrations out on YouTube because you represent everyone else here. Sting then proceeds to immediately go after Ricky, saying, you said I was the first one that got face-to-face with you because I kind of admired something in you. Like, all those days, you were one of the only ones that had balls to get in my face and talk smack. And you got to earn respect. And you and Big Bill, like Big Bill, I've faced many big men. The only difference is that those guys were killers. I'm not so sure about you. And then Darby proceeds to end it by saying, look, Ricky, I respect you. Respect what you do in this ring. But every time you point the finger at somebody else, only you that is going to be taking the blame. And then he got hit with a drink by Starks, who's screaming for him to hit him because there's supposed to be no physicality in any of this. And Sting's like, I've always hated talk because Darby, I'll hit you. Darby will hit you, Starks, in Phoenix, and I will too.
So I will say this. Ricky Starks and Big Bill are probably my least favorite tag team that's every AEW's had as far as champions. But this was pretty good. It was pretty good,
yeah. I don't like them as tag champions because, again, it's what we've always said. We don't like throwing together tag teams holding the belts. These two guys aren't, there's no team on that. You know what I mean?
Yes, and you can go down the history of throwing together tag teams that worked, and thumbs up. I mean, I don't like them.
Yes.
You can't.
I'm right there with Floyd.
You can't argue me into liking them. I don't like them.
We've been that way. You can be a thrown together tag team and kind of work your way up. Swerve in Our Glory kind of did a little bit.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I love Ricky Starks. And Big Bill, got massive respect for Big Bill. Them together, holding the tag belts, doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah,
this is a good backstage segment. I thought they did some good work together. I'm excited for the match next week.
And honestly, thrown together tag teams are literally supposed to kind of build to a feud, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do you want to see Ricky Starks and Big Bill feud?
It'd be interesting, I would think. I mean, Ricky tends to do pretty well against guys that are bigger than him.
And that's fine, but I'm just not really.
Exactly. You would think it's because, that's what happened with Swerve in Our Glory. It broke apart. And I just they do well against each other, but I just don't really have much desire.
Yeah, so maybe we get there. But Sting and I think they'll put on an amazing match because I individually fucking love Ricky Starks. Love Big Bill.
Everybody in this match. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just you have a tag team division. And you have all these tag teams, which we'll talk about when we go over the top 5. And it's just now you have these kind of together. Sting and Darby's actually a little bit more established because they're a little bit more established because they are 26-0 as a tag team. So we'll see. I will save. I think the match will be great. Don't get me wrong. But I am at this point where I'm really, really ready for the tag belts to go to a tag team. Not even necessarily my favorite tag team. Just a tag team.
Exactly. Moving on from this, we had the Ring of Honor Television Champion Kyle Fletcher face off against Chris Jericho. Here's the first thing I have to say, since we are talking about Chris Jericho. Never sing The Weeknd ever, ever again. That was horrific. That cover he did of Blinding Lights on the Cruise, horrific.
Yeah, never.
Don't do that.
Never saw.
Do not do that. I don't have any ill will against Fozzy. Do not do that again. That was horrific. That was some of the worst things that I've ever seen Jericho do in the last few years. Just don't do that, please. It just hurt my soul.
Yeah, apparently that was bad. I honestly did not listen to it. Honestly, people have posted pictures from the cruise, and it causes so much FOMO. I generally just scroll past it really quick.
I get it, man. I get it. I mean, I feel that heavy with the cruises because I've never been on one of them. You've at least been on one.
Oh, yeah, and it actually makes it worse because you're dude, it's so much fun because it really is. It's a great time.
It is.
It is a great time, but so I like I said, I didn't hear it. I imagine it's not good. I don't I enjoy when I went to see Fozzy in concert. I think they do their music and the music around what they do very, very well, right? Very well.
Right.
It's supposed to sound how it sounds, right? But I could imagine, because I don't think that man can actually sing well. I don't, So him trying to do, songs by people that really can sing, I don't think that'd be a strong suit. But again,
well, especially with if you're gonna do it, like change the key at the very least.
Yeah, I don't know music, so I can't speak to this. I'll be the first.
Hit those notes.
I was gonna say I've never thought he was a particularly good singer. He's more of a yeller to me.
Well, that's why that's why he does rock music, not pop music.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. So I was like, Weeknd?
Exactly.
Him doing the Weeknd didn't sound,
It's not. Don't search for it. It's not a good idea.
Yeah, so everybody there was probably drunk, so no one knew it was bad.
No one. Well, people who filmed it knew. They were like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get this.
Yeah.
That being said, getting into the match though, match was pretty solid, I think. I liked how Powerhouse Hobbs and Don Callis were getting involved, but eventually, though, he got chased away and then came back later in the match. Kyle Fletcher, I think, was working really well on this one. It felt like you saw him take the lead a lot in this match, and he did a really good job, I felt like. But as the match went on, Jericho, he hits the Judas effect. Hobbs proceeds to get back in and try to charge after him. And as he's running towards him on the outside, Hobbs gets sent into the steel steps. Fletcher gets rolled back in. Jericho then proceeds to do an off-the-top turnbuckle Judas effect. And he pins him with that. Yeah, he pins him off of that and gets the victory. And he had two Judas effects and the one off of the top rope as well, which was
always evolving, that Chris Jericho. Always evolving. I thought this match was a little, completely positivity, I thought it was a little clunky at the beginning. And
at the beginning, yeah.
Yes, and there were a few position things.
You saw them get to, you got into a bit of a groove.
Yeah, and then it was like, oh, okay. This is the Chris Jericho I know. This is the Kyle Fletcher I know towards the end.
And that's when it became all right, this is solid.
Yeah, because I at no point thought this match, when they announced the match, I was like, it's going to be a good match because those are both excellent wrestlers. So, but top rope Judas effect, I thought that was an interesting ending. And I love how he had to overcome all three. I got to ask the question, where's Sammy? Still hurt?
Yeah. I don't know. I do not know.
I think we might be building the Sammy coming back next week, but we'll see.
I would love to see that happen because I do enjoy me some Sammy. Also afterwards, Jericho and Konosuke Takeshita were staring each other down since they'll be facing next week on Dynamite.
The real alpha.
Yeah, there you go. We then had Bullet Club Gold with Switchblade Jay White and the Guns, and then they came out with the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. So we had the Bang Bang SZA Gang out, and they each did their own thing. And then they talked about how these are the 6 men who dominated trios wrestling for years.
And I'm like, for years?
Yeah, I'm like, maybe for a year.
I mean, hey, that's some old school heel history right there.
Yeah,
I'm like, I believe the first time the Guns and Jay White tagged up was maybe August.
Yeah,
maybe
honestly, like half a year ago. But regardless, they proceed to be like, hey, Anthony Bones, something's missing him right now. It's not just 6 of us. Get Cardblade. Cole then proceeded to say that they fired Cardblade a long time ago, which did not bring good reactions. Everyone was like, no. Then they were like, get the juice board. And they did that. And there's a point where they threw it out of the ring and it landed on his head. I loved how that became a thing. It's like taking a bump on the head like that, like Cardblade did or Juice Board did.
I loved Taz's reaction during this. How many cardboard people do we have on the ring?
Yes, legit. So they do a nice little bit right there. It was a nice little funny segment. I thought somebody was going to come out and interrupt them, and then it didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, with the rankings, I mean, this seems to be all building to, like a 6-man unification thing.
Right, exactly, something.
Yeah, because, no, it's just like, this is great, but it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly. It was more so this segment will be talked about for something else.
Yeah. No, but I'm interested in seeing where this goes because they are not how when generally someone's going to turn on someone's showing their hand, right? They hug, and then someone has that stoic look on their face, or they no sell something, but both teams seem to be all in on being a group, so you don't know who's going to be the dick in the end. Well, you have an idea, but maybe they go a different way.
Yeah, maybe. We'll move over now to Taya Valkyrie facing off against Deonna Purrazzo. I just can't get over the fact that her arms were bent backwards, dude. In that match, her arms backwards. That finish was ridiculous. Deonna came out and she just oozed confidence. I felt like in this match. So
I'd seen them in Impact, so I was expecting a banger because I've seen them have really good matches.
Right. You didn't get that.
Yeah, I thought you got a good match. I wouldn't go really good. I thought you'd get a good match. And for where it is and how Taya is currently positioned in the company, we got the match that we were supposed to have.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I'm going to say this. You're rebuilding the women's division, right? You really are. It seems like you're trying to reset and rebuild, Timeless Tony. You needed a banger here. You give them 5 more minutes and just tell them to go. So
you kind of need to get the jumping off point for people to really
You need people talking about women's matches, right?
Yes.
I needed to come on the show. This is what I wanted. I wanted to come on the show today and say, forget the rest of the show.
Yeah, these girls
stole it, and they put on a banger. And I think that's what the women's division needs right now, like some bangers to get people talking again.
No, 1,000%. I think matches when we remember the great work that the Thunder Rosa and the Lights Out match.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
And
or just the great work that, like I said, I always go back to the work that Sheeta and Serena Deeb did because they put banger after banger after banger in their match, in their feud.
Yeah, and I can honestly say, even on Dynamite in general, I feel like generally there used to be this time with Dynamite, and I don't know how long you can keep this up or expect it, that there would be all this one match that everybody was talking about.
Right. No,
Dynamite.
And again, you would see stuff oh, we're just gonna have a random match between Nick Jackson and Fenix.
Yeah.
And they'll just get 5 stars right like that. Guys, if you give the women time, I'm telling you they can do stuff like that too.
Yeah, and that's how you build a division. So
you want to give a basis of what to expect from these girls. If you don't know what they do, show them.
Yeah, I want you to, for the 10 or whatever people that went up and went to the bathroom, I want them to fucking regret that they did it. You know what I mean? And it was this was a good match, but this is not a match you regret missing. So I might be the only person in the world that had this high standard on what Deonna and Taya could bring. And it was just I thought it was a good match. I don't have a problem with the match. I wanted it to be better.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, again, I agree. And there's, like I said, there's a lot of Deonna Purrazzo being in AEW has got me genuinely super excited. And I am, like I said, I'm all stoked to see what more she does. But yeah, we want to see those old Dynamite matches that we would see just from 2 random guys, and they're just going to be okay, we're going to get 15 minutes and we're just going to put a 15-minute banger out.
Correct.
You give them enough time, and any of these girls I feel could do insanely good stuff. So I want to see more consistently strong, lengthy women's matches.
And I think you do have right now, with everybody coming back from injury, and I think you have a good mixture of different talent to do this if positioned correctly.
Yep. And Floyd, you can talk about this segment. I'm not saying a word.
What segment is this? You got to leave me in.
Darby Allin being interviewed by Paquette and then being interrupted by Matthew and Nicholas, because the first question that Renee asked was, I would love to talk to you about your admiration for the Young Bucks.
Yes, and Darby Allin's I don't know what to talk about, but the key out of this is the Young Bucks pitched them being in a trio, and they said we had a punk phase back in our teenage years, and I I personally laughed quite a bit, and Darby kind of, I respectfully dissed them, and the Bucks are like, oh, so we're gonna have to do something about it. So, in my opinion, it's setting them up to cost Darby and Sting the match next week, but we'll see.
Sure, it'll be the case.
Yes, but you like the Punk phase? How's your Punk phase been going, Austin?
My Punk phase is currently going through pain and suffering because my favorite wrestler's got a torn tricep again. That's my Punk phase. But at least these guys can tell shitty jokes.
They're so, hey. Big hearts, and the big hearts.
Fuck off. Like, I don't have time for this. We're moving on. Main event time, dealer's choice, Swerve Strickland versus Rob Van Dam. And, yeah, I was... also, can I say, I love me some Samoa Joe on commentary. This guy does some great work on commentary. He was doing a good job, too, of really pushing, like, how RVD is just, like, this absolute legend. Like, everyone was, like, so stoked to see him, too. And, again, like, I cannot stop saying the praises of Swerve. And I love, too, that they just let RVD, like, go full taking a steel chair, ripping it at Swerve, and then proceeding to just, like, throw him into the guardrail. Like, dude, I mean, like, he was doing some damn good stuff in this match. I loved how the fans were getting heavily into it as well. And then eventually Swerve then starts getting back into it, though, as he gets the steel chair, and then he has him. It's propped up in the turnbuckle, and he sends him into the chair. But then Rob sends Swerve into the chair eventually, hits the Rolling Thunder, and then also took the chair and drop kicked him in the face with it. As the match is going on, like, RVD's really getting some momentum going. But then Brian Cage, as it looks like he's going for the 5-star frog splash, Brian Cage comes up, he jumps and shoves him to the mat. And then the FTW champion Hook comes out, repping D12. Shady Records hoodie, D12 hoodie.
First thing I thought about when I saw it, I was like,
oh my God, I popped.
First thing I saw it, I thought Austin, and then,
I was like, there ain't no way that this man is wearing a D12 hoodie. I was just like, holy shit. I was like, this man is a G. I love that it was rocking that, and he had the steel chair, and he hit Brian Cage with it to get him out of there. They were brawling outside. RVD then gets snuck up on. He is able to hit a nice kick on him, and as he tried to go for the Rolling Thunder, though, Swerve got out of the way, took the steel chair, and then just proceeded to beat him down, stomp him onto the steel chair, and then as the things were going, they were going at it, and then he got RVD then took 2 steel chairs and basically, like, sandwiched him in between it, and then tried again for the frog splash. This time Swerve got out of the way. But then eventually, as the match went on, Swerve proceeded to come over, and there was a great moment, too, where he just had a house kick call where he had the steel chair and did the house call kick, and then he kicked out of that. That was a huge moment, I felt like, in the match. But then eventually RVD double birds, and then he gets Swerve stomped, and then he loses. And Swerve Strickland gets the victory, and Hangman comes out and goes basically like, hey, congrats, you evil bastard. So basically, we're both undefeated with these rankings. I would only assume that now we're both at the top of the list, and you said you wanted Samoa Joe. But listen, I'm not going to let that happen ever. I am the next world champion, not you. Swerve then proceeds to be like, I've beaten you twice. I have nothing to prove to you. You can't beat me. And they keep going back and forth and back and forth. And here's where they go. Swerve's like, you want this suffering to end? Here's what I'll give you. One more time, you versus me. Third time, and we are done. I will move past you, and I will face Samoa Joe for that world championship. And that was what was officially announced. Swerve versus Hangman. Next week on Dynamite, winner getting the shot at Samoa Joe at Revolution for the World Championship. I am so excited for this match, but God damn it, they're going to give it to Hangman, aren't they?
Dude, okay, let me tell you. I don't know what they're going to do. I've seen some different speculations online, but I will say this. Hangman has kind of gotten a better of Swerve. So generally when they do that, it usually goes the other way.
That's what I'm saying, though, because, like, part of me is like, like, in my head, I'm like, well, Swerve has won the last two, and really the only win that matters is the one that ends the feud. So they're going to give it to the babyface. They're going to give it to Hangman, and then he's going to get the title shot. But at the same time, I don't fully believe that.
I love the story of Hangman not being able to beat Swerve.
I love it, too.
Yeah, so, So, I've seen some things online. The only thing I don't want is Samoa Joe to be the idiot face that goes and attacks them both, and that leads to a triple threat. That's such a WWE way of looking.
It is. It kills. It kills, especially because the match is on Revolution.
Yeah. I don't, I'm at this point, I don't care who wins. Just
have
don't do
a definitive winner.
Yes, just don't do that. I don't care who wins. I don't have to do that. No, I even said, if they wanted to do a double knockout, a draw, anything like that leads to a triple threat, that's fine. I just don't want Samoa Joe to be the idiot face that goes and attacks both, so now he has to wrestle two people. Or the idiot champion that attacks both the people. Because they just did that with Roman in the triple threat, and I'm just like, at some point, you're looking at the three people, and you're like, I don't want to fight anybody. But fighting one is still better than fighting all three. It's like, so it's like, don't do the stupid shit. Don't pull the stupid shit.
Definitive winner. I will. If Hangman wins, I will begrudgingly be okay with it. Just have a winner.
Yes, the only reason I'm okay with Hangman.
Swerve to win so bad. But the
only reason I'm okay with Hangman winning is somebody put out that shitty alternative online, and I was like, that's so shitty. I'm okay with just Hangman just winning.
Yeah. So that's all I need right now is just a definitive winner. Honestly, you give me that and I'm good.
Yes, all you need in your life when you don't like a storyline is one of your friends to talk and give you a way worse idea. Because then that idea that you hate it seems less bad.
I'll take it. Yes. I'll take it. Definitive winner, please. I'm begging you. But yeah, that was AEW Dynamite. Like I said, this show to me was still good. But it felt like more of like the punt that you thought you were going to get. Like, we're just going to punt this week away that you would have thought you would get with Collision because it was going up against the Rump. Collision, like to me, like this week, Collision, I loved Collision this week. I thought it was really, really good.
I don't know how you find this energy because it's pretty organic. You really, for the most part, can't make it happen. But you need to have those Dynamites where people are talking to their friends about how good the Dynamite was. And I feel like this was a really, I thought it was a good Dynamite. But I didn't call anyone to say, hey,
no,
you should
and
watch
that's what you feel like next week is going to be like.
Yeah.
This was one of those, you get a filler episode of a TV show. This is the filler episode of the TV show. And you're kind of expecting next week for shit to really go crazy as we get closer to Revolution. But yeah, going into, before we preview the upcoming Rampage, Collision, and next week's Dynamite, we have the first edition of the rankings officially back. So this is where everything stands right now. Of course, your world champions in the men's side of things, Samoa Joe, AEW World Champion, Christian Cage, TNT Champion, Orange Cassidy, International Champion, and then Eddie Kingston is your Continental Crown Champion. The number one contender is Swerve Strickland with Hangman Page right behind him. Adam Copeland is at 3. Jon Moxley is at 4. And Roderick Strong is at 5. Do you want me to go through all of them, or do you want to go individually? We talk about.
Yeah, let's go individually and talk about it here.
Okay, so go ahead.
When you're looking at that, if you look at it, everybody pretty much in the top 5, is in something. You know what I mean?
They got some sort of story going right now.
Yeah, so it's just like I want to announce on this that these rankings are professional wrestling rankings. Good Lord, don't take them so serious. This is not like No one's changing math or anywhere. If you look at rankings, college football, boxing, all that stuff, rarely does number one face two. You know what I mean? Just not how it happens. All these are. And it's like, I've heard someone say this before, but I've been saying this from the beginning. There's just ways to tell stories, right?
Right.
That's all it is. It's like Swerve and Hangman are fighting next week. So the first week of the rankings, we have 1 versus 2. Copeland, who's 3, is going for Christian. He's the number 1 contender for Christian's title. Jon Moxley lost the Continental Classic to Eddie Kingston, so him being, and then won a bunch of matches, so him being 4 is fine because he's probably going out to Eddie Kingston. And then Roderick Strong, he wants to wrestle OC. It all makes sense, right, in that top 5. But I'm just like, don't get hung up on it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, just don't get hung up on it. It's literally, this is a thing to give you a reason for people to fight. And if you take it any more serious than that, like, why isn't the number 1 seed getting a title shot? Calm down. Calm down. They'll get there. I know. Yeah. I play along with FTR was number 1 contender for 26 weeks. It was fun for me. But really, I don't take it that damn serious. Just chill. Let them tell the stories. Let Tony cook, okay? Let Tony cook.
We'll get there. Yes, we'll get there.
Because when he does, it ends up generally being something pretty good and pretty tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 1,000%. Yeah. So that's where we stand for the men's. The women's champions, of course. Timeless Toni Storm is your women's world champion, and Julia Hart is your TBS champion. Number 1 contender is Deonna Purrazzo. Thunder Rosa right behind her at number 2. Hikaru Shida, number 3. Sky Blue, number 4. Mariah May at number 5.
So you look at it. This is the first month, right? So most of these people have had, 1 or 2 matches, with the exception of Sky Blue, who wrestles on every show every week.
Yeah,
I didn't know, but so when you like, Sky Blue, is she getting a title shot? Is she getting a title shot? Maybe not, but this is literally 30 days into the rankings. Right. Like 31 days into the rankings. So they will adjust as we keep going. And it looks like what's more than likely, Deonna Purrazzo is probably going to be facing Timeless Toni Storm at Revolution. We really don't know who Julia Hart's person's going to be, but let's say if you're going by the rankings, it's probably going to be Thunder Rosa or Hikaru Shida.
I would think, maybe it would be Shida, perhaps.
Yeah, because Julia Hart tags with Sky Blue most of the time.
Yeah, they're not going to face each other.
Which they do have a pretty cool shirt out on Shop.
Yeah, no, I was going to say their skeleton shirt, fucking sick.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about buying it. I bought the Willow riding a unicorn shirt because, it's Willow riding a unicorn. So,
I mean, when are you going to turn down that? Honestly.
But before you why isn't this person on there? If you notice, if you actually go look on the other part of the AEW page where they show you standings, a lot of them haven't had singles matches. Just haven't. Yeah. It's only been a month. A lot of them haven't had matches to be on there yet. So they will be there. Just let the rankings work themselves out.
It will just, we're just waiting for them to consistently get back into form. You have the tag team champions, Ricky Starks and Big Bill. Sting and Darby Allin are your number 1 contenders. They are getting a title shot next week. You got John Silver and Alex Reynolds at number 2. Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli at number 3. Private Party at number 4. And Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta at number 5.
What Dark Order represent at the
and you'll see them in the trios rankings too.
Yeah, so no, obviously no FTR, but guess who hasn't had a tag match this year? They've
only had a trios one. Yeah,
they haven't had it.
And then we'll get right into that. Actually, the trios champions being claimed to Daddy Ass. You got Bullet Club Gold at number 1. Hardys and Mark Briscoe at number 2.
They're 1-0. They're 1-0, and they're number 2.
And they're number 2. Yep, I guess. Okay, there you go. Dark Order number 3. FTR and Daniel Garcia at number 4. House of Black number 5.
I think FTR and Daniel Garcia might be 1-1. I think. I
was just saying, I think this is their second match.
Yeah, and I think they lost the first one and then won this one. I'm not 100% sure. Let's see. Let's go look at the roster. And the roster. Yes, my thing's not clicking the way I want it to click. And there is ODG. Let's see. Yeah, 1-1 in trios matches. There you go. And like they're literally only ahead of the team at 5 because they beat them.
Yeah,
they beat each other. So it's like, is FTR and Diego Garcia a permanent trio? Probably not.
No.
But you have to go based on the data that you have, and they have been in 2 trios matches. So
yep,
it's going to probably be 3 or 4 months as people are getting their wins and all that stuff, where you can really dive in it. This initial one, you literally should take with a grain of salt, because like I think Swerve and Hangman probably lead the whole bracket with 4 matches apiece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so we're going to see these rankings get fully fleshed out. Like I said, it feels very much like when the rankings first started, back when AEW first started, they were like super fresh, super fresh. And like, in fact, I'm actually going to see if I can check the rankings from all the way back then. It's going to be a lot of clicking that I got to go through if I'm going to be able to get my way back there. But the rankings from all the way back then, dude, I mean, like they had some old rankings, like, and old wrestlers that were set up there. Yeah, they don't even have them up there, actually, it looks like, from at least they're not from 2020. Yeah, so they don't even have their old rankings from back then, at least saved. So I'd have to see if I'd have to. Yeah, they may have had all those go away. At least maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I'd have to see if I'd have to do a little bit more digging. But oh no, I was looking photo galleries. That's why I fucked up. Okay, that's on me.
Yeah, like Swerve. Yeah, Swerve. I'm like scrolling through. Swerve and Hangman are the only 2 people with 4 singles matches this year, and I think that's like, Dynamite and Collision included, and then now you'll have Rampage, and so you'll start seeing some people collect some wins, and this will start fleshing itself out. But again, even in month 6, year 6, whatever, chill the fuck out. It's a storytelling device. That's all it is.
That's all it is. Just give it some time. And like I said, you'll start to see it really get fleshed out and fully it'll feel like more consistent with the rankings.
And the big thing is there you have the benefit. They had the benefit of what they did wrong the first time. Right? This is the second time they're relaunching it. What people complained about, they had the benefit of that, and they can adjust to that this time.
Yeah. So they can adjust the rankings now, and then, we're good to go. So I'm excited to see how they shape out, and like how like they feed into storylines and everything like that. Because again, it's a thing that sets AEW apart. So
yeah, and I want it to be like, I know Continental Classic is probably not to the end of next year, but when they do it again, I'm like, dude, I only want ranked guys in it. You know what I mean? I
get it, yeah.
Yeah, I want you to have had to earn your way into the Continental Classic. I mean, last year was kind of random, but I want you to earn your way into the Continental Classic. And I want people fighting and trying to beat each other to get into the Continental Classic, because it means so much. Yeah,
and then like all of that makes, it builds and builds and builds and builds, and then all of a sudden it's just, so here, I think actually I got the official first rankings right here, if I can find them, when they first debuted the rankings. Let me see if I can get this up real quick. And this was back when they actually had being the elite on the news page, which is always interesting. So yeah, I think November, it was 3-1, 3-0-1, 3-0-1, 3-2, 2-2, 1-1. Like, so the rankings were literally Cody, Pac, Mox, Hangman, Kenny, and Mox were your rankings. And then, dude, Emi Sakura was on the top of the rankings with a 1-0 record for singles wrestling. Like, that's how fresh those rankings were. So, like, that's how it reminds me of those. Like, we're just getting started with the rankings. Nope, you there?
No, I was just talking to a friend tonight, and I was just asking. He's like, I hate the rankings.
No.
And he's like, well, I was like, why? And he's like, well, why would anybody be 1 and 2, whoever's won should be fighting the champion every week. And I'm like, do we have a championship match every week? Well, no. And I was like, so I stopped him because it was one of those things. I'm not into, it's like, I'll argue, but sometimes I just want to know your line of thinking. And he was explaining why it had to work. And I was like, now, I'm like, I know you like wrestling and you've watched wrestling a long time and you're into other sports, UFC. Has any ranking system ever worked the way that you're describing? And He was like, no. Well, that's why it doesn't make sense to me. So I was like, so you've made up rules of how this ranking system should work that only you know, and somehow they're supposed to figure it out and go by that.
Yeah, it's
I'm like, what?
Exactly. Like, guys, just give it some time. Just give it some time. That's all we're asking. Yeah. But that is everything we got. Here's our preview, at least for Rampage this week. You're going to get Top Flight versus Private Party. Ricky Starks and Big Bill will face the Dark Order. Willow Nightingale versus Queen Amanita.
Amanada.
My apologies. You'll have Orange Cassidy and Best Friends. They'll be talking. And then you have the giant CMLL four-man tag where it's going to be all four of them versus CD, Matt Sydal, Angelo Parker, and Matt Menard.
Yeah, they were the four that came out to have Moxley's back on Wednesday.
Yep, they were the ones that broke it up, so they're going to be having
so again,
the match on Rampage.
Match is not random.
There you go.
Yeah.
On Collision, we have Eddie Kingston, a Continental Crown champion, facing Brian Keith. And Bryan Danielson versus, please say his name again so I don't get it wrong.
Hechiyero.
Okay,
yeah.
There you go. Those are the two matches that were announced for Collision. Then we got multiple matches, of course. The trios matches, stars of CMLL versus Blackpool Combat Club.
And the cool thing about Hechiyero is he's a technical wrestler.
Yeah, so they're
really driving. Yeah, he's a luchador, but they really drove on that he's into the luchador submission style. I forgot what they called it, but they really drove that home on the commentary. So I thought that was a really good job of commentary.
And like I said, I loved the submission work with Nagata's match with Danielson. So I love that we're going to get another week of that.
Yeah, and I just love, like I said, I love the fact that they set it up on commentary, right? Because you might not know who this guy is, but they told you everything you needed to know about him. They even told you the type of match that you should respect from Bryan Danielson. It's not going to be a traditional lucha match that you probably think of in your head. It's going to be more of a match against him and Zack Sabre Jr.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that. And then, like I said, CMLL trios match versus Blackpool Combat Club on Dynamite. Jericho versus Takeshita. The tag title match between Ricky Starks and Big Bill and Sting and Darby Allin. And then, of course, Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Page with the winner facing Samoa Joe at Revolution. And then finally, the big announcement that we'll be having from Tony Khan on Collision in Phoenix. On Dynamite, Dynamite next week on Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix is fucking loaded. I mean, this is like
so much.
Like the fact that they haven't named this the show of the rising sun or something because it's in Phoenix or some special fucking name just seems weird. Because any shows that are this loaded, that are pretty much going to decide your number one contender going into Revolution. You got a tag title match. That's pretty much, if they win, that's going to decide what type of match, in essence, that you're going to have going into Revolution. It's like so much of this next week's show is going to directly lead into what we get at Revolution. And, Chris Jericho versus Takeshita, they already did it in Japan. Now they're doing it in America. So that's another reason to get excited. So I am, I'm really excited about next week. It's like, if I could find a way to be actually off, which I can't, but if I could find a way to be actually off, I would be actually off work just to sit down and watch this show.
I'm so excited for it. We got a ton to look forward to with this match. So this whole show looks like it's going to be a blast.
Yeah. So it's like our February pay-per-view,
yeah, for real. Yeah. But that is everything in AEW. And Floyd's got a nice little note here of the last thing we'll talk about because we don't have any other additional news to talk about.
Yeah.
But I was gone for a week. Floyd's
because we were going to talk about it last week, but we didn't do a show.
We didn't do a show, no. So I can't. Yeah, we'll save this part for basically, if all you came for was the AEW talk, this is the end of the show. Yeah. Subscribe, rate, review, follow us on social media, all that kind of stuff. We'll close things out with basically just me talking about like my time.
And we're probably going to get into a little football. Just
a little bit, because I mean, it does.
So
that is a big feature in what was part of my trip. So
we're going to try to save our shooting the shit until the end of the show. So.
Yeah, we're going to do that from this point on. So that way we don't lose most of you with the football stuff. And besides, it'll be mostly gone after this week anyway, because final game of the season.
Yeah.
But either way, I was not on the episode 2 weeks ago because I was off in Orlando. I spent the weekend with my family as we all went to theme parks, basically, hit up Universal, Disney, all that kind of good stuff.
Dude, did you hear about Universal Epic?
Epic Universe? Yes, I did. I saw the video. They are stacking up. I will say the concept of the actual park is awesome. There's only a couple rides that they've mentioned that really piqued my interest, like the dual coaster sounds awesome. And then there's a ride that they're doing at this version of a Super Nintendo where they're doing a Donkey Kong coaster that makes it feel like it's going to have like an invisible track where it feels like you're jumping the track, which is fucking cool. That's awesome.
I think that's going to be my big trip for 2025 is that year.
Yeah, you will have to let me know how that is, because I mean, like I said, that looks like,
if y'all didn't know, because all you hear about is wrestling and football. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan and nerd, so
and they got
a whole new Harry Potter world,
a whole new one with Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
So I am really looking forward to the Ministry of Magic and going to all the lands. I'm going to try to go to every one of them, but I'm going to do something I've never done. I've never stayed in a hotel on park.
Yeah, and that's the thing. This one literally has the hotel at the very end of the park, like inside. Like it's interesting. Like I said, it's something that's very unique. I'm hyped about the Universal Monster movie. That's my shit. So we got to do all the new stuff at the park. So I got to ride Velocicoaster, which was fucking awesome. That ride is so good. We got to go to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which was amazing. Got myself a lightsaber. Absolutely had to go purple. Shout out Mace Windu. That whole thing was awesome. Crazy thing too, actually, I'll tell this one quick story about the Star Wars area. So we had...
we already let them go, so you don't have to tell quick stories.
Yeah, I know, for sure. So we got lightning lanes for Rise of the Resistance, which is the big E-ticket, basically, the big ride.
Yes, like pretty much my favorite thing I've ever been on. I actually got to do it twice, and I love it.
No, well, that's crazy, because here's the thing about when we did it. So we got a lightning lane for like 2:30 or 3:30 in the day. By the time we get to the park, first thing we do is we ride, we go and we try to ride Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. We get on the ride, and it breaks down. And we're stuck on it for like a good 20 minutes, which was a real pain in the ass. When we get off, and it's about an hour before our lightning lane for Rise of the Resistance, that is also down. And it stayed down for like well over 5 hours. Like it was nearly 7 o'clock. Like it had gotten dark out basically, and the ride was still down. And then while I'm waiting in line basically to ride Tower of Terror by myself because no one else wanted to ride it, I'm looking at my phone, and all of a sudden I see the wait time on the app pop up being like, Rise of the Resistance is open again. And I'm like, oh my God. So we immediately go and we're like, I'm going to get off this ride once I finish riding it, and I'm going to bolt. And we're just going to get in line for our lightning lane, and we're going to ride it. We made this happen. Dude, the wait time for General was like over 300 minutes. I couldn't believe it. I was like, you got to be kidding me. But we rode it. It's a ton of fun. Such a good ride. But it definitely was like, just the wait time was insane. Like, it wasn't long for us because, like I said, we had our lightning lane. But, like, if you tried to wait, like, you would not have been able to get on the ride if you waited that long. Like, park would have closed. Park would have 1,000% closed. Or the ride would have shut down again.
So we did the lightning thing for Rise of the Resistance. And then our friend actually works at the park, and they got her through the second time.
Oh, I see. Yeah. You got the hookup for sure.
Yeah, I mean, knowing Tiffany is pretty much knowing the world. So
honestly.
Like
honestly though.
So the homie, she hooked it up. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, that ride is spectacular. We also met up with some friends of ours, online friends that are big football people, and we went to at City Walk they've got the giant NBC Sports Grill. We went there to watch all of the wild card weekend, and the Lions winning their first playoff game in over 30 years, beating Matthew Stafford and the Rams. Unbelievable experience. I was running around City Walk high-fiving strangers. I was so fucking happy. And with the fact that the Cowboys are the biggest choke artists of all time, that meant I got another home playoff game, so I actually got to cover a Lions playoff game, and it was the Buccaneers game, and they won that one too, and it was incredible. So much fun. But yeah, just being able to hang out with our friends that we knew online talking football with, and we all watched it together. Sydney was fucking terrified on that final drive by the Rams. We thought she was absolutely terrified. But they pulled it out, and, incredible run for the Lions. We're running it back next year, trying to make the Super Bowl. But trip was amazing, honestly. Got to do a ton of fun stuff, just hanging out at the parks.
Okay.
And we actually did Magic Kingdom After Dark, too. I don't know if you've seen After Hours. They have this thing that do Magic Kingdom After Hours. Dude, it was like a fucking ghost town. Like, legit. Like, we're leaving at, 1 o'clock in the morning, and, they still have another hour, I think. Actually, no, it was, midnight. I think we were leaving after midnight, and they were open until 1 a.m., and it was foggy as hell, too. So we literally felt like we were in the park when we weren't supposed to be. And it's
that's
wow,
pretty.
we got to ride the new Tron coaster. That shit's a ton of fun, too.
Okay, that's cool. I got to ask, because I like to ask my trip question. What was the best thing you ate all for the trip?
Best thing I ate?
Yeah, food. Food is...
Yeah. Honestly, so we ate at, what the fuck's the name of the restaurant? We ate at, I'm going to look this up real quick because I can't remember the name. But it's at the, one of the Disney resorts, and it's, the owner of the Dolphins, I believe. It's his restaurant. Swan Restaurant. Let me find it. I can't remember what the fuck the name is.
When you said it was on Disney?
Shula Steakhouse.
Yeah, Shula Steakhouse. Okay.
Yeah.
Don
so we
Shula.
ate there.
Okay.
Yeah, so we ate there for my birthday, actually, and got me some really, really good steak. That was probably the best stuff that I had. Dude was awesome too. We had a British waiter, and I was like, "Are you a actual football guy, or are you a American football guy?" Because I was like, since you're British, I have to ask, with you working at an American football restaurant. He's like, don't know a damn thing about American football, but I could talk about European or English football all day long. And I talked with him a bunch. He's an Arsenal fan too. Shout out to that dude.
Come on, you Spurs. Whatever.
No, fuck off.
What?
Fuck off.
What?
Fuck off. But we talked about football. It was a blast too. And dude was super cool. But yeah, that I would say would be the best food I had. I fucking was stuffed leaving that place.
Well, that's good to hear. I mean, honestly, traveling, going to wrestling shows, all that stuff, I usually don't have time to focus on food. I'm just grabbing whatever I can. So whenever anybody else travels and I know they have their priorities straight and I know they're going to actually go get good food, I always like to ask them what they had because, like I said, that's probably if you talk about a hole in my travel, yeah, I've been to several places and never eaten anything there except McDonald's or Burger King because that's all that's open when my show's over. So there you go.
There was an Italian restaurant we ate at too. I can't remember the name of it, unfortunately, but it was also really good. I had some really good spaghetti too.
My favorite place when I'm there is it's on Universal. It's like a place where you can get really good ice cream. Universal Studios Orlando ice cream. Let's see, what's it called? It's like they have these like huge sundaes, and I can't remember what it's called now. I feel like because it's got like a steampunk type thing going on.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's it's on City Walk. Yeah, what the fuck is it called again? It's what the fuck is it called?
The Twosome Chocolate.
Yeah, Chocolate Emporium.
Yeah. It's one of those ones. I love it, but you have to plan to go there. When you decide to go on the trip because it's always booked. Solid.
It's always.
Yeah, I mean, because the Sundays, I don't go there for regular food, right? If I go there, it's an appetizer, and then they have these Sunday cups, and they're fucking amazing.
Yeah, no, we did not have the chance to do that. We did get some Voodoo Donuts though, and Voodoo Donuts was lined up outside the fucking it was insane how long the line was for Voodoo Donuts, and they were good, but I was like, it's donuts, this long for donuts.
Yeah, I mean they're it's what's hot in the streets. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I know.
There's one in San Antonio. That the next time I go, I'm gonna go there. But yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm
I will say too, there's a new thing at the City Walk. They have escape rooms now. They have 2 escape rooms that you can do. One based off of Jurassic Park, one based off of Back to the Future. We did the Back to the Future one, and it was honestly a ton of fun, and also freaking cool too because they obviously the person that's in character in the escape room is just some random actress or whatever. But they got Christopher Lloyd to do some voiceover for Doc Brown, which I heavily appreciated. I was like, that's fucking Doc Brown right there. That's not just a character actor. That is Christopher Lloyd playing him. It's just a silhouette, but they have him voicing him over, which I heavily appreciated.
Yes, that's awesome.
But yeah, no, I mean, it was an awesome time. And like I said, it was just great experiencing, the new rides and everything like that. But, dude, that Lions win, dude, that shit meant so much to me. And then the fact that we punched our ticket to the NFC Championship game the next week, and even though that shit ended so brutally, this season has been spectacular. I've gotten to be able to start to really appreciate the season now that it, we have both our coordinators back. Yeah. We're going all in next year. And
I gotta
I'm
say,
stoked for it.
I was very happy when the Lions won that game. I was very sad what happened the next week because I wanted to kick your ass in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I wanted.
Week one though.
Oh yeah, and I was fine. And I wanted to show the children that everybody gets lucky once. Y'all were the little giants. Y'all won the 1 out of 10 times the first time, but the big bad wolves. We're going to meet you in Vegas.
Listen, dog, I will tell you right now. You want to go all in about the whole, y'all got the asterisks with our win. We didn't have Travis Kelce.
No.
Well, motherfucker, we didn't have Sam Laporta. Going crazy, breaking tight end rookie records out here.
Yeah.
We also didn't have Jamison Williams.
Y'all got the dub. And this would have been a great story for the first game of the season to go on to the last game of the season. It was
absolutely.
It was going to be great until the game started, and then we were going to blow you out. But alas, that didn't happen. I'm sorry. Your team didn't make the Super Bowl. I mean that legitimately. I am.
No, for sure. I mean I think you could be honest and that first half. We played the best football of conference championship weekend in that first half.
Yeah, I had wrote you in. It was okay, this is over.
We were up by 17, and obviously that's not a safe lead in the NFL or in an NFC title game. But I mean, we had it won. It was we had it.
Yeah, no. That is that makes me sad because I thought you won it. Because honestly, I thought San Francisco was going to kind of whoop you because
Yeah. No one thought that first half was going to be how things started out.
Because believe me when I say this, I believe that the San Francisco 49ers are the best team in the NFL. I mean, honestly, if they beat us in the Super Bowl, I won't be happy about it, but I would be like, I think I've said it. If you go on my Facebook, I've said it many, many times. I thought they were the best team in the NFL, and it wasn't.
I was terrified going into this game. I said they're gonna kill us.
Yes, and then in the second half, they played like the best team in the NFL.
No, we just played like the worst team in the NFL. I will say that me and JR have that same organization. Results the same. I don't care which side you're on. If you thought San Francisco, it doesn't matter. Yeah, because I mean, like we just played like ass. Like it's we just totally collapsed, and just like things started just falling the other team's way, and we had no way of stopping it. And like we just couldn't get it. Like we just couldn't do what had gotten us there, which was just convert. Like we were just making, and also the entire season, I will say, we have not been a good third quarter team. And that's one thing I hope this team can fix. Like third quarter is like death sentence for the Lions a lot of times. Like our offense just goes flaccid.
Yeah. And it's, you can't, like it's that, you needed to be able to finish them. You know what I mean?
And, I give the Lions credit. In a lot of situations before, they were able to do that. They were able to finish games. And like I said, this was a bad time for them to just fall apart at the worst time. But now, first game jitters of this kind of situation is now out. You're going to bring a lot of these guys back. A lot of these younger guys are going to continue to get better. Shout out to Ifeatu Melifonwu, I got to say, one of the other guys that we got in the trade for Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff. That dude has been a revelation this season. He's been so strong in the safety position that honestly, like I said, I don't even think we need to keep C.J. Gardner-Johnson, especially if he's out here trying to freaking headhunt Deebo Samuel for his own petty reasons, as opposed to actually playing for the fucking team and not giving up stupid penalties like that. But like our young guys are really coming into form too, and they're only going to get better. And then I feel like there's so much room for this team to really make big splashes, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I think there's a good chance you could see them make a big move. So I'm hyped about it, dude. Like this next year is going to be exciting. The draft is in Detroit. It's like, let's go, man. Let's go. And shout out to you, another Super Bowl trip for you guys. I'm hoping for a good game.
I'm not at all. I'm hoping
for a massacre.
I'm hoping for the most boring second half in the history. Patrick Mahomes is sitting on the sideline in his jacket. Travis Kelce just takes off his clothes and goes sit up in the stands with Taylor as we wait.
Hard emojis and everything.
As we wait for the clock to end and we become your two-time reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl champions. That's what I want to happen. But, that's not, they're the best team in the NFL. So it's going to come down to one score. And we have Mahomes. And then, we'll see.
We will see, yes. But that, I think, will close things out for my little trip talk and a little bit of football at the end. We will continue to keep football at the end if we do. But again, like I said, after this week, unless some big shit happens, this is where the football will end to. So y'all that don't like this, I promise you, we'll be out of here. We'll be out of here with that.
Yeah, so. And if I come off overly smug, I'm a Chiefs fan. It's just now.
It's in his blood now.
It's right now. We are them right now. We have him. We are them because we have him. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. And you were like, oh, they're going to lose in the Super Bowl, and that's going to humble them. No, it won't. It won't. We still made it to the Super Bowl 4 times in the last 5 years, winning 2 Super Bowls. A loss is not going to humble me. I'm just throwing that out there.
He's still going to be...
I'll be humble in, 15 years when my home retire? Then I'll be humble again.
That'll be about it. That'll be about it, yeah. But anyways, guys, thank you guys for tuning into this episode of All Things Elite. We really do appreciate you. Thank you for being patient as we didn't have an episode last week. And guys, continue to download this fine show on Google or Apple Podcasts. If you listen to us on Spotify or wherever you choose to listen to us, Give us a share with your friends, family, coworkers, whoever you wish. Rate, review, subscribe, all the 9 yards there. And like I said, you subscribe, you won't miss a single episode, even when we are cut off because work is crazy. But also follow us on social media at ATElitePod on Twitter. Follow Social Suplex at Social Suplex. Follow myself at Austin Sumowitz, SZUMOWICZ. And follow Floyd at Floyd Johnson Jr. on Twitter. And with that, I will let my man Floyd take us home on this episode of All Things Elite.
Good news. I have re-downloaded Discord onto my phone, and I'm going to be logging into Discord and engaging on the Social Suplex Discord. So if you want to if you happen to be on the Social Suplex Discord and want to tell us, we suck or have AEW questions or whatever, I feel like this, because it's funny because I listen to other shows and they always have good questions from people that listen to the show. They're a lot more present on Reddit than we are. So I'm going to at least try to go in the Discord and get some questions so we can be more, engaging because, I have an opinion about everything. So I just need the people to ask me what they are.
Yeah.
But we thank you. Minute, second. So we haven't, Austin went to Orlando. So, that was, he had a good time. I don't know. I think my next trip is Revolution. So, I'll be talking about Revolution at Revolution. But we do appreciate everybody listening to the show. With this new year, get started. Get whatever you need to get done. On February 11th, if you know nothing about football and you're listening to the show, February 11th, just pull for the Chiefs because you will likely win. I'm just throwing that out there. Just throwing it out there for the novices. Super Bowl comes out. You don't know what's going on. You're like watching a Puppy Bowl. Everybody's waiting for the commercials to come on. But if you want to look like a smart person, and then they ask you, who you think going to win? I'm like, I think Mahomes is going to win. Don't even say the Chiefs. Just Mahomes. But thank you all again. With that, I will leave you how I always leave you. Whether it is home, work, or school, always do your best to be elite. Get well, Kenny Omega.